Hey folks, and welcome to another episode of Start Select, the video game show from GameSpot UK. 2011 is gathering speed, it's January 21st, and unbelievably, we've only just recovered from New Year's festivities, to the point where we're fit for appearing on screen. Well, just about. I'm Guy Cocker, she's Jane Douglas, and coming up in this show,
we bring you the latest word on Nintendo's glasses-free 3D wonder gadget, the 3DS, straight from this week's showcase event in Amsterdam.
We talk to Stephane Dupas of 2K Czech about accessibility, realism and precise motion control in upcoming tennis sim Topspin 4.
I'll be interrogating Mark about all-star crossover fighting game Marvel vs. Capcom 3 and why he always chooses bloody Ryu. Seriously, Mark.
And not only that, there's a chance to win Mass Effect 2 on PlayStation 3 and a rundown of this week's new releases, so make sure you stay glued to that sticky office chair you're sat in.
Over the last few days, we've had Sega announce its upcoming box Dreamcast collection for PC and 360. That is Crazy Taxi, Space Channel 5 Part 2, Sega Bass Fishing and Sonic Adventure out on February 25th.
We've also heard that the former heads of Modern Warfare studio Infinity Ward, that is Jason West and Vince Zampella, very nearly shacked up with THQ instead of EA after being fired by Call of Duty mega publisher Activision, the whores.
And then there's the naked pregnant Alma Wade with real glowing demonic fetus figurine that'll come with the Fear 3 Collector's Edition. Order now to avoid disappointment.
Plus, popular among commenters on the site right now is a story about a study in a medical journal called Pediatrics from researchers at Iowa State University. Apparently, 3,000 school kids in Singapore were questioned about their gaming habits using an adapted version of a survey that was used to diagnose pathological gambling. Just under 10% were found to be so-called pathological gamers with a higher incidence of social phobias, depression and anxiety. The doctor behind the study stopped short of calling it a causal link. He reckons it's about an impulse control disorder. He was quoted as saying, "You know you should do your homework, but you just can't stop playing. What needs to be changed is not the game. What needs to change is players that need to learn about putting it back into its balance."
We've also learned that Evolution Studios' upcoming PS3 exclusive MotorStorm Apocalypse is coming out here in Europe way ahead of the US. Sony's announced a March 16th debut for its 3D-enabled all-terrain racer. The North American launch is slated for April 12th.
We've told you all you need to know about that news, but remember, there's plenty more over on the site. Just head over to gamespot.com/news to get your newsy fill. The really big news this week, though, comes from Nintendo's 3DS European media event in Amsterdam, where Nintendo was showing off its 3D handheld gaming contraption. Mark and Jane were lucky enough to be there, as we find out in this report.
Hey, this is Jane and Mark for GameSpot UK. We are here just outside of Amsterdam for the Nintendo European 3DS Showcase.
So we're about to head inside. There is a big press conference going on. Jonathan Ross is going to be presenting. We're going to see games, we're going to get interviews, all for you on GameSpot.
We kicked off with the conference where we got a release date, March 25th, but not an exact pricing because Nintendo doesn't like to talk about trade prices apparently, and we have to defer to our retailers for that. And we've seen some of those prices though coming out during the day for pre-orders, right?
Yeah, a few have leaked out. So the biggest price, well, not the biggest price, but the most popular price seems to be around £229. Though, spotted a very good deal on Asda today. They've got an exclusive where they're selling it for £219 with Monkey Ball. So there you go.
You heard it here
Can
first,
get it cheaper.
Maybe? Okay,
yeah.
And then we went and checked out some of the games in the white kind of park show floor area.
Yes.
And you went to see, what was it, PES 2011 3D first.
So I'm trying out the game now. Unfortunately, we're not allowed to show you the screen, as Nintendo have said that they will kill us if we show you the screen. So I'm just going to have to describe this to you as best I can while I'm playing it. So the idea of Pro Evo 2011 is that the camera view has completely changed from the last game. So now you kind of view it in this pseudo kind of third-person view where it tracks behind the player that you're playing as all the time. This kind of helps with the 3D effect, and from what I've noticed from playing it here is that when you're stood behind the player, you get this added sense of depth, and you're able to see how far you can shoot the ball and pass the ball much easier than you can in a 2D incarnation. The other interesting thing about the game is it's really, really pretty, and it's a testament to how powerful the DS hardware is, that it looks like a great PlayStation 2 game. Also great is the speed of the game. If you're used to the Pro Evo on the consoles, you'll notice it is quite fast. And I'm really, really enjoying this at the moment. The 3D effect works great for football games, and being able to see how far you can shoot is a bonus. Unfortunately, I still suck playing as Barcelona, but yeah, it's a really good experience and something to look out for when the 3DS gets launched on March 25th.
Well, Mark, sounds like you enjoyed that very much.
I did actually. It was one of the best games I played today. The 3D effect was really well done, and the thing about it is it really, really helps you see where the ball's going when you're playing the game. So, you know, I think sports games, it's quite a good thing for 3D, but you actually saw something a little different today, something possibly a little more violent.
It was rather more violent. It was Resident Evil The Mercenaries 3D, and it was on a bus also.
Okay, so I'm just loading up the Spain level. We're playing a Spain level and an Africa level here in the bus with Resident Evil Mercenaries 3D. And it's much like the Mercenaries bonus mode from Resi 4 and 5. It's a points-based game without a story, and you're running around killing as many zombies as possible and getting time extends by doing combos or by picking up time extend kind of crystal things.
How did the 3D work with it though?
The 3D, well, it's a third-person shooter, obviously. Well, it's a third-person game with that kind of over-the-shoulder shooter view. So it brings the character you've chosen out into the foreground. I think the 3D is most obvious when you're looking down a scoped weapon, because the scope really kind of pops out of the screen, which, I don't know, I thought that was maybe a tiny bit off-putting, but for the game proper, for running around, it is nice. It adds a nice dimension to it, I suppose you would say. And I enjoyed it. Graphically, very, very impressive. Probably the most impressive game visually I've seen today. And Mark, I believe you saw Dead or Alive, and it had some dimensions also.
Several dimensions.
What did you make of its dimensions?
Well, we'll find out right about now. Now, what's interesting about this game compared to a lot of the other 3DS games you've seen today is there's a lot of what is technically called, in my terms anyway, sticky outy 3D. So what happens is you'll see a lot of menus appear to stick right out of the screen. This happens a lot when you get like a KO, so the message KO just flies into your face. It also happens when you have characters that at the end of a match that they've won, their hand appears to stick right out of the screen. So it's a really interesting effect, and it looks great. The other thing about the game is, you know, gameplay-wise, if you're familiar with any of the Dead or Alive series, you'll be immediately familiar with how this game plays. Also graphically, you know, it looks great. It's kind of PlayStation 2 level graphics, very, very smooth frame rate. It's, you know, it's a fantastic game to look at. So yeah, look forward to this one later in the year.
Has it got volleyball in it? No, it's a fighting game.
No, fortunately there isn't any volleyball in it.
Any photo taking?
There's no photo taking, there's no volleyball, there's no
bikinis even?
There's no, well...
There are bikinis.
Okay, there probably are bikinis in the game. I didn't see any in there, but I'm assuming there will be some.
Moving on. There's a lot of time for Dead or Alive.
It's coming back to the fighting, the series that it's famed for, so there's none of this crazy spin-off stuff, which frankly, if you've played Dead or Alive Paradise, you'll know that best avoided,
Yeah, well, it was quite impressive in the conference anyway. They showed some stuff on the big screen of that.
Yes, absolutely. So you went and saw something involving monkeys.
Yes, I saw the Super Monkey Ball in 3D.
I'm in challenge mode, which is, I think, the main game mode, really. And it's interesting, there's two control schemes. One involves tilting, like I'm doing now, so it's motion sensor based. And the other control scheme involves using the circle pad, which is actually very comfortable. And I prefer it over the tilt method, because with the narrow viewing angle with the 3D, I find the tilting actually kind of spoils it a bit. But it looks good. And there's also a fight mode and a race mode. The race mode looks really good. I think 3D is going to stand up really well generally in the racing games on here.
So I think if you were going to play Super Monkey Ball with the motion sensor control scheme, you would use the slider to bring the 3D right down and then play it like that. But I quite like the secondary control scheme, which is just using the circle pad.
Yeah.
I think we're calling it a circle pad now. That's what Nintendo says, not analog thumb pad.
It's an analog stick.
Circle pad.
That's what it is.
Whatever you want to call it. It's really comfy. It's actually really nice, and the controls were really quite precise and not oversensitive. So yeah, I would go for the secondary control on that. And there's also a fight mode and a race mode. So yeah, there's a lot of content in there.
You know, I found that kind of interesting thing out of all the things today, that the thumbstick was really, really comfortable. I mean, I don't know about you, but like when I was...
Super comfy.
It was really, really comfy, much more comfortable than the PSPs. And I think that's kind of a really good feature to have, because, you know, the PSP is great, but that thumbstick, after a while, tended to, you know, you used to get thumb fatigue like all the time.
Avoiding the thumb fatigue.
Yes, it's pretty good. I know we talked about the price a little bit earlier, but what do you think? Too high? Too low? Just right?
It could have been worse, really, couldn't it? I mean, the prices we're looking at with pre-orders, around $230, I think that's what we were expecting. In fact, I believe in last week's podcast, I said $230. So
I think we all owe you a fiver then, don't we?
I think you do. That's £5 towards my 3DS.
So that's it from me and Jane at the 3DS event in Amsterdam. Don't forget, you can check out all the previews from today's event over on the site. Just head over to GameSpot.com.
We've had a near-final version of Marvel vs. Capcom 3 to play with, and Mark has been Hadoukening me to death with his permanent tag team fixture Ryu. Let's get his impressions of the game now. Okay, so Mark, you've been playing Marvel vs. Capcom 3, Fate of Two Worlds.
Yes.
Tell us about it.
So
how's it going?
It's well, pretty well. It's
okay.
So Marvel vs. Capcom 3 is the latest in a string of versus games. Well, it's the third Marvel vs. Capcom game, but it's also kind of the sister product to stuff like Tatsunoko vs. Capcom and the upcoming Tekken stuff.
Crossovers are hot right now.
Crossovers are where it's at right
okay.
now, absolutely.
All right, and so it's a tag team fighting game, all-star Marvel vs. Capcom.
Yes, tag teams, so there's 3 players on each team. You can pick any 3 you like from the roster, which includes some awesome characters.
Yeah, you can pick any 3, but for you it's any 2 plus Ryu. Okay.
I don't have to have Ryu on my team every single time. No. It's just that the thing about Ryu is his moves are so familiar to me. Like when I'm trying to learn all the other characters, it's nice to have that kind of backup character where I can just go to him and go, yeah, I'm just going to do
your go-to team leader.
Do a bit of fireball action.
What else? Okay. So from the Capcom side, you've got character-wise.
Yeah. So as we mentioned, there's my favourite Ryu. You know, you've got like Viper as well from Street Fighter. You've got Chun-Li, but then you've also got kind of more crazy characters. Like you've got Beautiful Joe, who's quite fun to play as well, and Tron as well, which is another interesting.
Favourite, yeah.
My favourite, Tron. And on the Marvel side, there's some cool stuff as well, like Wolverine, personal favourite.
Deadpool, She-Hulk.
She-Hulk.
Another of your regulars.
Well,
okay.
She-Hulk's a weird one. I didn't know She-Hulk existed, you see.
You did not?
I didn't know that.
Come on.
I know.
I like She-Wolverine, that's X-23. She's got some really good
X-23 is cool,
yeah,
actually.
Yeah, cool. And also there's a plot or something.
Well, there is.
We care.
Yeah, so it's Doctor Doom.
Right.
He's teamed up with Wesker.
Oh, that guy.
I know. Right. Teaming up again, and they've joined together to basically take over the world. So they're getting all the evil characters together from the Capcom and Marvel universes. So all the good characters have gone, no, we're not going to stand for this. Yeah. And they're shaking their fists in the air violently.
Okay.
And now they're going to prevent it. Yeah, in 3-on-3 battles in tournament style.
Sure.
Yeah, that's
good.
The only way to prevent it.
All right, sold.
Yeah.
Plot done. The controls, how do you find them? They're a little simpler, although they're different, right? They're nothing like Super Street Fighter controls.
Yeah, they're really, really different. So in Street Fighter, you've got 6 buttons essentially, haven't you? You've got 3 for punches and 3 for kicks, light, medium, hard. In this game, you've only got 3, so just a light, a medium, and a hard, which does punch and hit, depending on how you've got the direction.
And then you've got the aerial.
And then you've got the aerial button as well, which has been added in, which is a new feature for the game. So that lets you, basically, if you push that button when you're stood next to someone, it launches them up in the air, and then you can start doing aerial battles and kind of aerial like combos and things like that.
Or bring in team members.
Which
is amazing. Team aerial combos.
Yes, they look amazing. In fact, you're better at doing them than me, actually.
Yeah, okay.
And you know, you're launching them right into the air to be one followed by another, followed by another. colour, and it looks really, really great.
It does look good, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Speaking of, the engine, not the Street Fighter engine.
No, it's quite different. So it's actually the Lost Planet 2 engine, which is like, you know, everyone thought it was going to be the Street Fighter 4 engine, but interestingly, it does look great.
Yeah.
Cell shading.
Cell shading, in that comic book style, rather
Yeah.
than, other kinds of cell shading.
All that kind of stuff, and loads of over-the-top effects as well. Like when you pull off those combos and like all the crazy stuff happens, like it just, the screen explodes in colour. It's very, very cool, and I love the look of it.
Yeah, and it's not so unforgiving of button mashing.
No, well,
in my
well, there's actually
before I mastered it, obviously.
Well, yeah, I mean, they're actually two modes. So instead of you've got the one where you've got 3 buttons, there's actually a simple mode, which is pretty easy to make yourself show-off mode to make yourself look good in the game. Right. So you basically only really have 1 or 2 buttons, and you can just, it does everything for you, and yeah, you can look like an absolute pro playing it.
So it's a near final version you've been playing.
Yes.
It's not, the character roster is not completely full. Anyone else you're hoping for? Someone on your
Well, it'd be nice to have a couple more Street Fighter characters in there. You know, I'd love to see someone like E Honda in there as well. But that's doubtful that it's going to happen. Ken. Love a bit of Ken. I know Ryu's in there, but you know, a Ken-Ryu matchup is a classic. You know, exactly. And if I can't choose,
what is the point?
What is the point, exactly?
Okay, cool. But you're looking forward to it?
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's out?
It's out on February 18th. So yeah, we'll look out for it then.
How far in your face? Feel the love of the hyper combo, and it's a home run!
If you haven't had enough of Topspin already, well, Topspin 4 promises to be the most accessible version of the game yet, with Move compatibility in the PlayStation 3 version as well. We spoke to 2K Czech Stephane Dupas to find out how it's shaping up.
Game and second set, Tampa.
So hello, I'm Stephane Dupas, I'm the president of 2K Czech, and today we are here to talk about Topspin 4. So Topspin 4 is a tennis game, so it's the last version of a well-known franchise, which we released for the last time 2 years ago. So this time around we're coming back, trying to make the best of tennis available. So to find the right balance between accessibility and depth is a challenge. So this time we decided not to compromise on the depth, but to do a better job explaining how the game works and what you should do with it to improve your game. First, we did in-game helpers. There are 4 of them, which you can switch on and off at any time. So the first one is the timing. Were you too soon? Were you too late? How do you adjust your controls to make sure you have the perfect timing all the time? The second one is, did you do a control shot, angle, precision, or did you do a press and hold shot, power and fast ball? The third one is, where is the ball going to bounce? So if you've been drop shot or lobbed, you can anticipate faster where the ball is actually going. And the last one is the fatigue gauge, which is very important from a tactical perspective. We're trying to follow up the experience of the user. At first, they are very basic questions, like, you know, we need to teach you how to reposition. Like, if you played on the right side of the court, go back in the center position before the ball comes back. It gives you a better chance and a better coverage. Then in the second step, they want to know how to improve the timing. They want to know when to press and hold, when to quick tap, what makes the most sense, what type of effects are good at doing what. And the last thing is the tactical approach. So how do you win a rally very fast? How do you tire off your opponent? What is the best way to go to the volley? So that's basically the questions the Topspin Academy tries to answer. So with the character creation, every time you play a match, you will make experience points that you can invest into your players. You will gain levels at each of the tennis tactics, serve and volley, attack or defense. And then as you grow into your levels, you unlock coaches. The coaches is a cool new feature because they come with objectives. They expect you to be precise, they expect you to show power, they expect you to do aces, for example. If you do those objectives correctly, they give you rewards. They boost your attributes, better serve, more power, but they also give you skills that you can rely on. Better slice, better lift, better serve, for example. So, and you can change coach at any time you want, but the more time you spend with the coach, the more rewards he will give you. You need to really build up your character and understand him as best as you possibly can. So if you have power, you want to like the press and hold. But probably if you have power, your speed is an issue. So you want the rallies to be short, and so you want to use the risk serve, for example. Attributes are basically a way to win a game in different styles. It's not only about press and hold, slamming the ball as hard as you can. It's about using the right combination of controls and attributes at the right time. Yeah, for the last 10 years we've been doing topspin. Like we got to work a lot with the tennis people, whether it's players or coaches or people who organize academy. They really explain to us what are the basic choices that which a tennis player does. When does he go for control? When does he go for power? Or does he move around? The critical collaboration on this one was the motion design. How do you turn? How fast? What do you do when you want to turn fast? What do you do when you want to start fast, for example? So in the motion capture, we work with them and they gave us really good advices which improve the responsiveness of the character on the court. And I think with Topspin 3, overall the feedback was people were saying, you are very ambitious with tennis. You want to do something which has depth and a lot of controls, but aren't you like worried that people will not respond positively? Well, the truth is we sold more Topspin 3 than any other tennis game sold in the world. So for us, we understood it as there's an expectation out there from people to say that they want to have fun in a long-lasting way with tennis game. Motion controller we have, so we support motion controller on the PlayStation, for example, but we didn't change the design of the game because of the motion control. We tried to use the best of motion control to fit in our design vision. So very precise control over power, effect, using the motion controller, which is a great piece of accessory, by the way. Kinect is a bit more difficult because in Topspin, the difficulty, the balance of difficulty between moving your character around and shooting is set quite precisely. With Kinect, it's a bit more difficult to move your character around, so that was difficult for us. So I'm Stephane Dupas, I'm president of 2K Czech, and today we present to Topspin 4, which is due out on Xbox 360, PlayStation 3 and Wii around mid-March. Have fun.
Game Agassi.
Time for the new releases now. Here's what's hitting UK store shelves, both real and virtual, over the coming week.
Little Big Planet 2 for PS3 comes out on Friday, January 21st, following a delay last year. Hyper-charming DIY platformer Little Big Planet 2 finally makes its way to the PlayStation 3. It's been worth the extra wait, says our 9.0 review. Quote, a game that just keeps on giving.
Another treat for PlayStation 3 owners this week is BioWare's glorious sci-fi RPG Mass Effect 2, which also arrives on Friday. Producer of the port, Jesse Houston, says they stuffed all the Mass Effect 2 assets into the new engine for Mass Effect 3, which is out later this year. Also, he says the controls are geared to the PlayStation 3 controller, although you can switch it back to the old Xbox 360 style if you like.
For the PC and for download on XBLA from January 26th, meanwhile, is military first-person shooter Breach. Lots of realistically extensively destructible scenery coming from Atomic Games, the folks behind the canned Iraq War set 6 Days in Fallujah game.
There's also Mindjack for the PC and Xbox 360 from January 21st, a third-person shooter centred on brain hacking and on hopping between single-player and co-op and competitive online play. All right, feedback time now. Remember, you can get in touch with us here on Start Select in a variety of ways, including Twitter, Facebook, and of course, good old email, all of which of the details should be appearing on your screen now. This week, though, we've called the best comments from our Start Select page, and remember, you can vent your spleen under our videos. Just head over to gamespot.com/startselect.
And from that very page, on the topic of the Spike TV VGAs last year, WidowSun91 said the VGAs were bad. Super Mario Galaxy 2 wasn't even shortlisted as one of the choices for Game of the Year, despite the fact that it is the highest rated Game of the Year and the third highest of all time. Well, that's what you get for making a game that looks colourful. If you don't make a game today with guns, you're going to have to fail because Sony and Microsoft have tricked kids into thinking anything else is simply not hardcore. I wish Sega was still making consoles. The industry has gone downhill since they retired the Dreamcast.
Cool Guitarist posted on the subject of Elder Scrolls 5. He says, if Elder Scrolls 5 is online, I may spend the time from its release till the end of the world, which is happening in 2012 apparently, just crying, which is a shame. You should just play the game.
Yeah, that's a year. That's a year to play it. All right. KM Constable whined, great episode, but must whine about the fact you guys still don't have your review of Vietnam posted yet, and you don't even show it as one of the top games for any of the platforms. And let me just say, it is the best online shooter of the year. It is essentially a whole new game with all new weapons and some of the most beautiful and detailed multiplayer maps ever made, and it only cost $15. That is Battlefield Bad Company 2 Vietnam expansion, obviously.
You can't please some people.
There is a review now, though, right?
Yes.
So, and it got an 8.5.
So it's worth checking out,
Yeah.
as I need to do. Mr. Self-Destruct didn't destruct. He just wet himself by saying, "Oh my God, the Evo arcade cabinet that was featured in the last episode of Start Select, I just peed a little."
Okay.
Thanks for the info.
And that's it for this episode. But remember to post your comments on the Start Select page, and we'll read the best out next time.
All right, competition time now. It's the first Start Select of 2011, which means it's time for yet another amazing competition. This week, courtesy of EA, we have 5 copies of Mass Effect 2 to give away on the PlayStation 3. Now, as we already mentioned, the game is out on Friday, and the PlayStation 3 version is packing loads of bonus content, including an interactive comic, free download of the Terminus Armor and M490 Blackstorm projector weapon, oh yes, and the premium post-release content from the other versions of the game.
All you have to do to be in with a chance of winning the game is answer this simple question. Name the male and female voice actors who play Commander Shepard in the game. If you think you know the answer, get it over to competitions@gamespot.co.uk. Good luck, and we'll draw the winners on the next episode of the show.
All right, that's all you're getting from us this time, but thanks very much for watching this episode of Start Select. We'll be back again with a new show on Friday the 4th of February. In the meantime, you can check out more Start Select on your Xbox 360 in the UK. Just head over to the dashboard where GameSpot UK videos are now appearing.
And remember to follow GameSpot UK's Twitter feed over at GameSpot UK. And for a backstage look at everything happening at GS UK Towers, head over to our Facebook page at facebook.com/GameSpot UK. Au revoir, mes amis.